where we live is truly drop dead gorgeous. And we need to make sure we keep that safe. We need it for ourselves. We also need it for tourism. And we need it just for the future well-being of this area. Many community members have attended recent P&Z, informational meetings, open houses, etc., and have repeatedly voiced the need for minimally disturbing this land and all that inhabits it.
I don't know as the town needs a seat at the table for this parcel. It's currently zoned at 3.3 at rural zoning to maintain large parts of it. As far as how Pima County has it currently zoned for development, I would fully expect if the town were to include that in its master plan that zoning is not something that would be maintained as far as what we're hearing from the city planners. So I don't know as there's a space for Oro Valley to need to include this in the general plan. I don't think that's why it wasn't included in the first place. It was not included when the general plan was presented to the voters, and I don't know as that needs to be amended now to include it within the general plan for the city.
The Chamber Board supports this proposal to extend Oro Valley's planning boundary and to apply a master plan community designation to this 302-acre state-owned property. These actions simply to us make sense. Of course, Oro Valley should have a seat at the table in these discussions, regardless of whether Oro Valley or Marana or Pima County have primary jurisdiction over development. This piece of ground touches my community, the place that I live and care about. And of course, I would expect government to have that very seat at the table. And if you have the seat, you get to express your preferences for development. I heard Mr. Vela say it at one of the neighborhood meetings. Careful planning, that's a standard in this community. Minimal mass grading. People might be complaining about what they see. Truth is, and correct me, buyer, First Avenue, the project going on right now is about 50% open space, if I'm correct. 50, half open space. Wise transition of uses. More intensive uses along Tangerine, less intensive to the north of Tangerine. Protection of contiguous space and critical resources. I've spent 7 years in this room watching what government does in terms of development, going to neighborhood meetings, planning, zoning, this council, etc. And I would respectfully suggest to the neighbors that if this land is developed under Oro Valley's jurisdiction, your voice is going to be heard, because it's heard every single time. Sure, you can chuckle about that if you want. I'm speaking experientially. That's what I see happening in this community. And the truth is, you're going to have your shot at it. You're going to get to have a say in what goes on.
What I would like to do is I'd like to alienate about 1 million of my neighbors tonight, because I do also support the change to the general plan. And the reason I support it is because I know what they built in Tangerine Crossing when Marana was in charge, and I don't want that next to Coyote Crossing.